What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here on Victory Monday, and I hope you guys are doing good. Running around like a crazy man, taking care of some errands before I head on down to the Red Brick House to get some more work and stuff done. We are a week away from Thanksgiving. Man, I can't believe how quickly time is flying by. In fact, how fast 2023 is. And the Cowboys get a victory, and everybody's trying to steal thunder, of course, because that's what they do. No matter what happens with the Cowboys, it's always still the worst thing in the world because that's just the way it is. And I get it. The Giants, literally got beat last week by a team that fired their coach, Antonio Pierce. Although I will say that right now the Raiders are playing pretty good. They did beat a Jet team that did beat the Eagles. They did beat the Eagles, and a Jet team and a defense that really played great against some great quarterbacks, except for one, Dak Prescott. Did you notice something with the Jets? They put up their quarterbacks that the Jets had played against and stuff, and that all the trash numbers that they ended up having. Funny, they didn't put Dak Prescott up in that image because Dak Prescott actually blew those mother humpers out. But be that as it may. The question we have to ask right now is, has this offense, the Texas Toast or the Texas Coast, Texas Burnt Toast, we've had quite a few different names for this offense, is it beginning to figure out what works and getting their act together, or is it just that they're playing home with some home cooking against inferior teams? The biggest problem that I have had with our Cowboys, and we can go back to the last couple of years in the playoffs and look at the biggest problems we've had. Two things. In the playoffs, two things that you really need to do to be successful for the most part. Stop the run and be able to run the football. And through this course, Dak Prescott has been playing great. He's literally, no quarterback has ever had 3 games in a row with 300 plus yards and 3 TDs. Ever. Dak is doing that. It's kind of funny because what we heard from Mike McCarthy is, I just want to run the damn ball. And the takeaway from this was the Cowboys are scared to put the ball in Dak Prescott's hand. Well, right now, Dak Prescott's hands are what's getting the team to win. Okay, so be that as it may, the bullshit that you've heard, guys saying that they trust Daniel Jones more than Dak Prescott, yada, yada, yada. It's funny how the experts apparently don't seem to know that much. My brother used to say, an X is a has-been and a pert is a drip that didn't make it. Just saying it. Expert. Be that as it may, the running game. We've been critical of the play calling and the use of Tony Pollard. To me, Tony Pollard is better being a Batman a Robin instead of a Batman. The problem with Tony Pollard is he doesn't have the build, the makeup, the iron in the ass to be that pounded back. He's more of a scat back, a guy who is better using his speed and his elusiveness outside. Between the tackles, he is not really good. That's not to say he's not going to have some good runs in between the tackles. But if he's getting hit, he's not, if he's getting hit by these big guys, he's not going ahead. And that's where Zeke Elliott was great, because Zeke was that pound between the tackles. Tony Pollard was the change of pace back. Well, the first part of the season, it seemed like the Cowboys were basically saying, Tony Pollard, you are both now. You're going to run between the tackles, and we're going to get you out in space. We're going to go ahead and run you every which way because you got the big contract. And for many times, we've looked and said, let's use Hunter Lipke. Let's use, Deuce Vaughn, although Deuce hasn't really, when he's had a few spots, has not done a whole lot. But let's use Deuce Vaughn. And, of course, let's use our other back. Well, here's the thing that's kind of crazy. It seems like the Cowboys ended up finding out what they already knew. What they already knew was Tony Pollard's game is the outside game. You need somebody else to pound the ball and to get those tough yards. And at this point, you have to look at this and say, Rico Gathers has earned more playing time and to be in that role. Now, granted, he only has 212 yards in the season on a limited role, but the thing is he's averaging 4.6 yards a carry. And right now, looking at him in this game that we just saw, I swear he seemed like he was hitting the holes with a lot more burst and a lot more force than what you were seeing with Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, as I'm watching him running between the tackles, he looks hesitant. He looks slow. He doesn't look like he is, I need to go here right now, and going there with force. That's more of what you saw from Rico Gathers. And I think the thing that I worried about, and I said so many weeks ago, was after the first 2 weeks where Tony Pollard had more touches than any back, I said, Tony Pollard can't hold up for the season doing that. He had a hard time holding up when he was splitting time with Zeke Elliott. But we saw him thrive. 5.9 yards a touch with the football. Those numbers had dropped off a cliff. Now, I think if the Cowboys and if Mike McCarthy is smart enough to go ahead and say, we need to insert Rico Gathers more and let them continue to use him. Because the thing that was mystifying to me was early on, Rico had 2 runs and had like 24 yards. And he got him down there in the red zone. And here we are in the red zone. They go back to Tony Pollard. And they run Tony Pollard twice in the red zone in the middle of the field. When you already had a guy who's got you down there, 2 runs, 24 yards, you take him out and you put Tony Pollard back in. And I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It's short yardage, red zone, where we've had our problems. You need to go ahead and say, hey, Rico, we're rewarding you for getting us down here. We're going to continue to let you try and pound it in. And that's where you sometimes feel like the Cowboys are stuck on stupid. That maybe there is a narrative here that there's certain guys that have to have the ball and we got to do this. Tony Pollard is our lead back and we want him to get those touches so we can look at the end of the year and say we were smart to go ahead and pay him the franchise tag. In the same way Jerry Jones has forever been screwing the pooch and trying to win a Super Bowl, doing it his way so he can say, see, it wasn't Jimmy Johnson, it was me. I just want to win football games. And the thing that's crazy about Jerry is, Jerry, if the team wins, you're the owner. You're going to get credit for having America's team that wins the Super Bowl. And maybe you need to look at this and say, maybe I'll get credit for putting people in a position to succeed because I decided to go ahead and get this football mine. I decided to let Will McClay actually implement the player strategy, and to work with the coaches to get the players that we need to go ahead and win it all. That's what I care about. Does Jerry really need everybody to say, oh Jerry, you're the smart? No, do you really need that? You got more money than you know what to do with. You got the most valuable franchise. You got everybody, out there. Every move that you make, every failure that you make, talking about it to the nth degree. Here it is. I guarantee people will talk about Dak Prescott's 1 interception, but they won't say anything about Trevor Lawrence, who they scored 3 points yesterday. 3 points. They won't talk about, Trevor Lawrence has got 9 TDs and 6 interceptions on the season, but they'll swear that he is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. That's kind of the way it goes. So the only thing you don't have right now, Jerry, is winning that ring again. And that should be the focus. Not that I was right. The right thing right now is that Rico Dowdle gets more touches in there. That we keep Tony Pollard between that 12 to 15 touches. And now the offensive line, Terrence Steele, definitely played better this week. And I guarantee, I know it was only the Giants. I know it wasn't going against the Philadelphia Eagles with, one of the best pass rushes. I get it. But you got to get some confidence at first that, hey, I feel like myself. I can get myself right. And then you get that confidence. You start feeling it. And then you can start taking on the big boys. And that's what this game is about. All right, good people. Hope y'all are having a wonderful day. It's kind of chilly out a little bit today. But any day that I can wake up and get out of bed